Hello everybody, today is 22nd of December. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS folder. So today we will be taking a quote from the Albert Schweitzer, the French thinker as well as the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. He had talked about the nature of the ethics. He says, ethics is the activity of man directed to secure the inner perfection of his personality. Now, guys, when we talk about the definitional meaning of ethics, ethics is defined as a study of human nature, as how human can distinguish between good and bad, desirable and undesirable. And this rationality of distinguishing is nothing but a conquest towards the perfection, and therefore, ethics adequately teaches us the perfection of the human personality. So, guys, we can utilize this particular aspect directly into the GS paper number 4 into the topic number 1, that is the ethics and the human interface. So guys, that's all about the GS folder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now guys, taking up the first article, so it has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it is talking about a once in a lifetime occurrence which has happened into the space. And guys, this particular article is important for the prelims examination as well as for the GS paper number 3. Now guys, what has happened, a very rare phenomena, that is the great conjunction has been witnessed. Now guys, the great conjunction is the coming together of the Jupiter and Saturn. Now, when we talk about the Jupiter and Saturn, many a times they come close, and that coming closer is normally called as the conjunction, which happens every 20 year. But guys, what is different this particular time, that this is the great conjunction where the Jupiter and Saturn comes very much close into each other's vicinity, and this is a very rare event. Only 4 times since the 1200 AD this particular phenomena has happened. And guys, this is the closest into last 800. Last time such a close kind of interaction was there, it was in 1226. But still, onto the measurable terms, there has been the difference of 730 million kilometer. Now guys, this particular great conjunction next will be happening in 2080, which is 60 years away from now. So guys, please keep in your mind that the great conjuncture is a phenomena which pertains to two of the planet, and the name of the planet, that is a Saturn and Jupiter. So that's all about this particular article, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it is important for your GS paper number 2 under the topic of social justice, the health. Now, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs had suggested that India needs a comprehensive legislation on health, namely the Comprehensive Public Health Act. Now, this particular legislation is intended to deal with the quality of health care that is being provided to the citizens, particularly if India faces any pandemic into the future. Now, guys, before going into the first recommendation, I would like to give you the background. See, in our country, the penetration of the insurance, particularly for the health, has been very much low. And the reason is that people's experience with respect to the insurance have not been good. The insurance claims, they are not endorsed or they are inordinately delayed. And this particular thing was particularly evident during the time of the COVID-19, when people's insurance claims were not entertained by the hospitals, citing that COVID-19 is not covered. Now guys, into this particular direction, the panel had suggested we need to have a kind of a regulatory body which can keep a check onto the hospitals, that hospitals are not refusing any kind of insurance claims. So a regulatory body is needed. After that, guys, it has been said that the treatment of COVID-19 needs to be made cashless in India so that people don't face as much of the problem. Then guys, it has been said that as the pandemic broke down, the National Disaster Management Authority was the nodal agency which was coordinating the actions, and it has performed relatively well. But still, it was not actually constituted to deal with the pandemic, and therefore, now a new wing is needed to be created under the NDMA, which is specialized in dealing with the pandemic, so that if any future pandemic comes, it is well suited into that particular direction. So, a new wing is needed under NDMA. After that, guys, it has been said that during the time of the pandemic, the farmers and the organizations such as the small and medium enterprises, they suffered huge problem, and therefore many of the economic as well as social protections are needed to be given to them. So therefore government needs to ensure the effective implementation of all the schemes, as well as to alleviate the problems that are being faced by the farmers, micro, small and medium enterprises. And then, guys, it has been said that state needs to bring a kind of a mechanism where adequate attention is being given onto the children's health by providing the provision of dry rations. There have been schools which have been shut down, and because of that children are not able to get their midday meal scheme. So for that particular thing also a kind of a arrangement is needed, and all these particular things can be looked by a comprehensive public health act. So it urgently the government needs to take up the initiative. Moreover, the accountability and enforceability of the schemes is the most important thing which is to be taken. So guys, when although into the economic front the schemes have been announced but they have not been implemented, so for that also the steps are to be taken. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Mint newspaper, and it is talking that how the land records which has not been clearly digitized and has not been verified, they are adding to the frustration into the farm sector, and how it is stopping the productivity. Now, just keep in mind this particular article is very relevant for our GS paper number 3 under the mobilization of resources. Now, guys, when we talk about the land records, first of all, just let's see the data here which has been issued by the NCAER, that is the National Council for Applied Economic Research. Now, first of all, here you can see that only 38.6% of the land records into the country has been digitized, which is very low and a poor amount. However, guys, the top performer states are the Madhya Pradesh, where 74.9% land records have been digitized. However, the poor performers are the states such as the Sikkim, where only 5.9% of the land has been digitized. Now, guys, when we talk about India, not only the problem is that the land digitization has not been there, rather, guys, the manual land records which has been maintained, they have been plagued with large number of inaccuracies, and because of these inaccuracies, there are often the boundary disputes which are going on with respect to the land. Then, guys, there are no clear ownership deeds of the people with respect to the land, and all this thing has severely impacted the productivity of the Indian agricultural sector. How? Let's see this particular thing. Now, guys, when we talk about the Indian households, then nearly 77% of the Indian households, their high value asset is into the form of the land. And into the US, only 40% households are the ones who have the high value asset into the form of land. Now, number one, in India, this proportion is very high. And secondly, when you see that the land records are not digitized, there are title problems, ownership problems, then, guys, these particular people cannot dispose these high value assets, they cannot monetize this particular asset to see another kind of activity into the future, and in perpetuity they are dependent onto the land, and this is basically creating large number of problems. Now, guys, if we see the China, or if we see the USA, how the people have migrated from agriculture sector to other sector, it is because the land records were digitized, and the mobility was provided to the people that they can sell their land parcels if they don't want to continue into the agriculture, and by using the money which they have got by selling of their land, they can enter into the other kind of enterprises. Now, guys, particularly the China, their large number of people had migrated from agriculture to the cottage industries and such rural household manufacturing units into the 1990s. But in India, such a transition has not happened because people have struggled with their high value assets, that is into the form of land. Now, guys, government has started since 1988 the project on the computerization of land records, but, guys, even till now this land record computerization has not been completed. Now guys, under the ages of the digital India, again the new thrust is being tried to be given, but still there is nothing substantial achievement which has been done. Now guys, when we talk about the 2020, the prime minister had announced the Swamitwa initiative, under which the digital property ID cards will be given to the villages, and it will try to solve the problem of land titleship and ownership. It has been said that under the Swamitwa mission, the technology solutions such as the drones will be used to do the survey of the land and into a time bound manner the people will be given their land titles. But guys, even into this particular direction, nothing substantial has happened up till now. So guys, we just need that in India monetization of land should be focused so that people can migrate easily, and government needs to pay much more attention onto the Swamitwa. So guys, that's all about this particular thing. Very important article, please keep it in your mind. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, as well as I had attached this article with one of the editorial piece that has came into the Business Standard. Now let's see the context. So guys, government had decided that they are further suspending the insolvency and bankruptcy code up till the March 2021. Now guys, before going into the implication of this news article, let's first of all understand the background. Now guys, if any economy wants to develop, it needs to have the resources, and the resources are mainly land, labor, capital, and the entrepreneurship. Now guys, if these resources are free and if they are being put to the high end use, the economy will develop. And if these particular resources have been stagnated, the economy will simply not develop. Now guys, when we talk about India, in India there have been large number of companies which have entered into the business, but they were not able to make profit, and now they just want to exit. But the problem is that very easily they cannot exit from the industry. And if I tell you, as of 2015, nearly 4.3 years was the average time that was there into which an industry can exit. And this particular problem has also been called as the Chakravyuh challenge into the economic survey of 2015 and 16. And even the former chief economic advisor Arvind Subramaniam had called this particular problem as a very big problem. Guys, first of all, you need to understand that why it is a problem. It is simply because when you are not letting the industry go out, well, you are not letting it to liquidate, to close off, it has taken large number of land, labor is struck there, capital is struck there, and many a kind of other resources are also struck. So we want that as soon as it wants, it should be liquidated so that those resources can be put to more productive kind of uses. Now guys, to solve this particular problem, government came out with the insolvency bankruptcy code, and this insolvency bankruptcy code was supposed to solve this particular problem. It was said that within the 270 days maximum, the entire insolvency process is to be solved. There will be the insolvency professionals which will be looking up into this particular process, and then guys, there will be insolvency and bankruptcy board also which will be regulating the process. And thirdly guys, whenever the insolvency process is to be started, both the creditors as well as the debtors have an authority that they can institute the proceeding for the insolvency. So guys, the IBC came, and actually under the ages of the insolvency and bankruptcy code, many of the fast track insolvencies were carried. However, as the pandemic of COVID-19 started, the government instituted the lockdown, and under the lockdown, large number of corporates were not able to function. And at that point of time, it was said that now many of people will be charging for the insolvency of these particular companies because they are not functional. But this problem is not because of some internal weakness, rather it is because of a temporary glitch that has came. So therefore it was said that the insolvency and bankruptcy code is being suspended for some time so that unnecessary insolvency applications don't come. And into this particular direction, up to the month of December, the insolvency and bankruptcy code was suspended. Now guys, the government had said that further the IBC is being suspended up to the March 2020. 1. Now, this particular decision has been called that still time is needed, but this decision has been questioned by many of the expert economists. So, number one criticism has been this, that now more than 9 months have been there, and we had given the ample number of time, and basically again extending it by 3 months will not be serving any purposes, because the industries which would have been into the capacity of recouping back, they had done, and others which have not still been able to recover, they are actually the sick entities. Secondly, guys, it has been said that the liquidation which is being asked for many of our companies, it is not into the pandemic times which had came, rather there were legacy companies which were sick even before the pandemic, and their liquidation is to be carried. And as the entire IBC is suspended now, even those legacy companies which have been historically sick, their liquidation is also not being able to be carried forward. So, guys, it has been said that number one, the IBC should not have been suspended, and number two, if it has been suspended, government should utilize this particular time to actually introspect the IBC whether it has been a good legislation or not. Now, guys, number one, if we see onto the face, it has been the best thing which has been done by the present government because of the considerations which I have told you earlier. But secondly, guys, there have been some of the genuine criticisms also of the IBC. That is, many a times when the basically contracts are not fulfilled, or the lenders, they are not able to receive their debt or their interest payment, without looking for the resolution, they directly come into the insolvency and bankruptcy code and start the process of the insolvency, just as a kind, just in a hope that they will get back their dues. But actually the purpose of the IBC was not to resettle the disputes of the debt and all such kind of thing, but rather it was an alternative which was to look into the viability of an enterprise. And guys, see, if temporarily a company is not able to service the lenders, it is different from the entire viability. So as IBC is not being misused into that particular direction, such a things are also needed to be looked into this particular time. So if the IBC has been suspended, please utilize this particular window in order to remove any of the misuses of the IBC if it has happened. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we will be moving into the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is a very good article for our GS paper number 2 under the topic of e-governance. Now, guys, this particular article is providing a new kind of dimension, and it says that now the governments across the country are focusing on to the e-governance, and even at the national level, the national e-governance plan has been initiated, and under the Digital India, the national e-governance plan has got even a bigger boost. And on top of it, the pandemic has make us realize that how the e-governance will be even more important into the times to come. Now, guys, it has often been assumed that the e-governance means a complete lack of the human element, but such a kind of assumption is clearly wrong. Now, when we talk about e-governance in India, government also needs to look onto the last mile connectivity of the governance. Now, guys, what do we understand by the last mile connectivity? See, in our country, there are large number of people who are elderly, the people who are not educated, or simply the ones who are not technologically well equipped. So guys, to these people, they need a kind of a human element who can assist them that how to use the e-governance solutions. And guys, into this particular respect, most of the state governments, they have failed. And in this direction, guys, we can give an example of the Andhra Pradesh government, which had specifically rolled out a ward secretariat program, into which there have been 16,000 ward secretaries and volunteers, and they will be assisting the citizens at their doorstep and will explain them that how they can access the e-governance. If they have any grievances, though those grievances can be restored. And basically this is a kind of an approach which is needed into the e-governance. Guys, in words of the people, it has been said that these volunteers are the one which help these people to see the government. Now, guys, these people have been called as the human intermediaries in providing the e-governance facilities to the people. Moreover, these human intermediaries also also restore back the trust of the people into the government. Guys, it has often been assumed that when the human element is not there, a kind of a warmness, a kind of a connectivity doesn't comes, and here the human intermediaries again play a very important role. Now guys, these human intermediaries, they can be political or they can be apolitical also. For example, they could be the NGOs, they could be certain public spirited individuals, they could be the civil societies and all such kind of organizations. Now, guys, it has been said that the state governments, when they are rolling out their e-governance initiative, they need to consult this particular element of human intermediaries, and they need to roll out such kind of specific people so that they can help out the public. And now, guys, such a kind of a approach cannot also be the one size fit all, but seeing the different conditions of the different regions, a specific cadre of the human intermediaries are needed, and this is also need to be made sure that they are not just a kind of an ineffective exercise. They need to be paid proper kind of remunerations, they need to be provided all kind of incentives so that they do their work properly. Guys, it has been said that these human intermediaries are similar to the providers of last mile connectivity, as the agents of or the delivery partners of Swiggy are important to the Swiggy. Now Swiggy is a tech giant, but it is incomplete without the delivery partner. So into this particular way, the e-governance is a technical body, but it will be incomplete without these human intermediaries. So guys, this is a very important article which has been given here. So that's all about this particular article, guys, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is basically exploring an idea of the international branch campuses. Now, guys, a very limited information relevant to the exam has been given, so therefore we will just be taking the relevant information from this particular article. Now, guys, a few days back you might be knowing that the government has announced the new education policy of 2020, and into this new education policy it was said to provide the quality education in India. The government will be allowing the universities which are into the top 100 category that they can operate their universities into India. So they, for example, just like take that there is MIT. So MIT will be allowed to open a campus in India, and that campus in India will be called as the international branch campus. Now guys, it is believed that international branch campuses have always been operated on only one model, that is these IBCs are established by the foreign institutions, they are operated by the foreign institutions, and without any support from the host country they operate. However, guys, it has been said that such an assumption is flawed, and there could be many models of the international branch campuses. Guys, here the research has been used from the cross border education research team CBERT. Now guys, here it has been said that an example has been taken of the Monash University of the Australia, which established their campus into the South Africa. The Monash is one of the top 100 university into the QS World Ranking Index. Now in 2001 they started their operation into the South Africa, and guys, by 2018 there were more than 4,000 of the students which have enrolled into the Monash South Africa. Now guys, within the South Africa, Monash was allowed to be operated as a private company. Now guys, it has been said that into the due course of years, Monash had invested heavily into their campus, but in 2013 Monash had actually sold 75% of their stake to a US education firm, that is the Laureate Education, and into this particular thing Monash had actually completely been exited out of this particular thing, and still the IBC is going on into the South Africa. Now guys, into such kind of conditions it has been seen that actually the credentials that the university was renowned for the quality education, they might not hold true after many of the years. So therefore some of the lessons India can take into this particular direction. What are the lessons? Number one lesson is that if you even establish the IBC, clear, it will not be holding or the same credentials, it will not be giving the same education here as it is giving into their host country. Then secondly guys, it has been said that IBC will not always be the foreign institution. By the mergers and acquisition it can also become the local institution as the Monash had become. And then thirdly, it has been said that basically to uphold the quality of the programs will also be the challenge. And fourthly guys, it has been seen that actually the quality of an education institution depends on to the teachers and the faculties on the type of contract academic staff that they will be hiring. So guys, into this particular direction there could be some practical limitations. So guys, this is all about the one of the aspect of the NEP, that is the international branch campuses. So that's it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the new mutant form of the COVID-19 virus which has emerged into the United Kingdom. And because of this particular thing, now countries are isolating themselves. They are not distancing from the UK. The flights have been suspended, and even the impact across the world onto the stock market is also being seen. So, guys, into this particular article, the nature of this particular mutation, etc., has been just explained. But, guys, as the COVID-19 development is very much volatile, and everything every day such kind of changes are coming. So actually, for the exam point of view, these things are not that much important, because by the time you will be writing the exam, this information would have become way redundant, and many much more changes into the times will also be coming. So guys, not actually required to go into this particular article. So that's it, guys, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, here just you can see a quick reference that the Boeing is offering the Super Hornet fighter jets to the Indian Navy for use onto their aircraft carriers, and had said that these aircrafts will be suiting the kind of requirements that the Indian Navy had. Now, guys, when we talk about the Indian Navy, it uses the short takeoff but arrested recovery system, and onto this particular system, these Hornet fighter jets will be suitably accommodated. However, guys, until and unless something final comes, you don't need to go into such kind of things. They're actually not that much important for our exam. So just a brief overview will be seeing. So guys, that's all about the important articles for the today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you are liking our initiative. Guys, thank you so much.